watching Big Brain Energy.
I know what perfect competitors are. They're like cafes and stuff. I watched the Big Brain Energy video. But the question says to draw on a graph, bro. Oh, okay, guess I got some more videos to watch. You sure do. Kia ora whānau, this is our second video in our 4-part series on perfect competitors, where we cover everything you need to know for the 3.2 NCEA External. Today we're covering the graph for a perfect competitor. Okay, so let's check out this graph. The graph exists on a regular axis. We have price on the y-axis and quantity on the x-axis. Price means the price of the thing that you're selling, and quantity means how much of it you're selling. So if you're a cafe selling coffees, for example, then price would be the price of the coffee, and quantity would be how many coffees you sell. So firstly, we draw in a horizontal line here, and we label this MR equals AR equals D. Okay, well, what the hell does that actually mean? Well, this is the demand curve, D for demand curve. Demand curve for a perfect competitor is completely flat. So that means that the demand doesn't change depending on price. Demand is just what it is. And that is because perfect competitors are price takers, so therefore they can't change the price. The price is just the market price. They can't just make it whatever price they want. Therefore, demand doesn't change depending on price, because price cannot change. Sure, like they could increase the price of a coffee by like 50 cents or something, but it's got to be within a pretty reasonable range. So prices are roughly market prices. Now, MR and AR, what does that mean? MR means marginal revenue. So marginal means the extra amount that you get from selling one more thing, so one more coffee. And revenue means how much money you make, so how much money you make overall from selling all your coffees. So marginal revenue would be how much extra money you make from selling one more coffee. So basically, if you sell a coffee for $5, then you make an extra $5 when you sell that coffee. So marginal revenue would be $5. So marginal revenue is going to be the same as price, because whatever price you have your coffee for, that's the extra amount of revenue that you get. Average revenue is also going to be equal to 5. Average revenue means the average revenue that you get from each thing that you sell. So let's say you sell 100 coffees and you sell them for $5 each, then on average you sell them for $5. So you can see why all these things are the same. The prices are always the same, therefore marginal revenue is going to be the same thing as average revenue, which is the same thing as demand. Everything is $5. Okay, and then we have this curve here, which is actually a curvy curve this time, and it is called MC. MC stands for marginal cost. So remember the word marginal meant the extra amount that you get from selling one more thing, and then cost means how much it costs the producer to make the coffee. So then, marginal cost would be the extra amount that it costs a cafe to produce one more coffee. Now, the marginal cost curve starts off going down, and then it goes back up, and then it keeps increasing, so we end up with this J-shaped curve here. We're not going to talk about why it's shaped like this in this video, but we're going to release another video soon where we talk about the shapes of each of these curves, so stick around for that. And then we add in this AC curve, which stands for average cost. So marginal cost was how much it costs you to produce one more coffee. Then average cost is if you take the cost of producing the 100 coffees that you make and you average it out for each price of each coffee. Then that's going to give you the average cost. It's the average amount that it costs you to make one coffee. Again, we'll have another video where we talk about why these curves are shaped that way, so subscribe to see when we release that. Now, this AC curve, it could actually be anywhere on the graph, so long as the lowest point, the bottom of that U, crosses over the MC curve. So it's always going to be shaped like that U-shaped, but it doesn't always have to be intersecting all those curves at that same place where it is now. It could be higher, could be lower, and we'll talk about why that is in a later video. It relates to profits. Okay, so that's a perfect competitor graph. The quantity that is sold is going to be where the marginal cost curve is equal to the price line, or the MR equals AR equals D line. So where these curves intersect is going to be what is called the profit maximizing position, which just means that that's where you maximize your profits, where you make the most money. The next video we dive into the profit maximizing position. But that is the whole graph for the perfect competitor. When we're talking about market price, where does that actually come from? It actually comes from the market graph. So the market graph is just the supply and demand graph. Whatever the price is on that graph is going to be the price that the perfect competitor sells for. It is the market price. So you can actually draw those two graphs next to each other and see how they relate. You can draw a line across to show the price in the market graph is the same as the price in the perfect competitor graph. Now, in terms of allocative efficiency, perfect competitors are allocatively efficient. So the consumer and producer surpluses are going to be just the consumer and producer surpluses on the market graph because we're operating with the same price. So you don't actually show the allocative efficiency on the perfect competitor graph. You show it on the market graph and then show how the market graph lines up with the perfect competitor graph. So those surpluses are maximized because we're operating in equilibrium and there is no deadweight loss. So therefore, perfect competitors are allocatively efficient. Alright, let's do some practice questions now. Feel free to pause the video if you need more time. Firstly, fill in the blank labels. So we have price and quantity on the axes. The straight line is the demand curve, which is the same as marginal revenue and the average revenue. And then the J-shaped curve is the marginal cost curve. And the U-shaped line is the average cost curve. And then the equilibrium is the price and quantity. Now, draw the graph from memory. Here's the answer. To prepare for the exam, it would be a good idea to practice drawing this graph a few times. You can start by drawing it with the example in front of you, then slowly build your confidence to be able to draw it without. What does it mean to be allocatively efficient? A market is allocatively efficient when total surpluses are maximized and there is no deadweight loss. Are perfectly competitive markets allocatively efficient? Yes, they are, because perfect competitors are price takers, so they set their prices at the market price, which operates in equilibrium. So total surpluses are maximized and there is no deadweight loss. Alright, that's everything for this video. In the next video, we'll be looking at the profit maximizing position, so make sure to follow our channel to keep up to date when that comes out. Let us know in the comments below if this video was helpful, and let us know if you have any questions about what we've covered today. See you next time for more Big Brain Energy.